Hello, everyone. I want to make a short sermon video. I'm going to be in Revelations 3:15 through 19, I think. It says, I know thy works, and thou art neither cold nor hot. I would that thou wert cold or hot. So then, because they're lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth. Because thou sayest, I am rich and increase with goods and have need of nothing, and knowest not that thou art wretched and miserable and poor and blind and naked. I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, and white raiment, that thou mayest be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear, and anoint thine eyes with eye salve, that thou mayest see. I read somewhere in a history type book about this setting here. He don't want it to be cold or hot. I've read that they had they didn't have a water supply. They had to go get it, and there was a cold spring not too far down, a little bit, and a hot spring down. And by the time they went and got that cold water and brought it back, it was lukewarm. They wouldn't fit for much. By the time they went and got that hot water and come back, it was lukewarm. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's just what I read. And but I saw something on TV, and it was Joe in the volcano, and uh, and that's what I want to talk about, the scripture, the cold and hot. Jeremiah 29 says, Then I said, I will not make mention of him, nor speak in his name any more in his name, but his word was in my heart, a burning fire, shut up in my bones, and I was weary with forbearing, and I could not stay. I know that I've been this way, and I feel like probably most of you out there have been too. I would come and I'd think, well, they've done heard it, and I'm probably not going to say anything else, and then they get the burning down in here, and I just felt like I had to get it out. And that's sort of like these video sermons are. I think maybe I won't make another one, and then I have something that's burning in my heart. So, but in this story about Joe and the volcano, Joe had a dead-end job, and I guess some of you out there has been in one like that. He wasn't happy. He was miserable, and he knew that in his heart of hearts that he was capable of doing more. But he had just given up on himself, and it wasn't going to happen. So he just started settling for less, like so many of us have done before. And he'd go to the doctor. He'd think that was in it. And he was a hypochondriac. And he hated his job because he wasn't living up to his potential. He hated his job. And they tell me that, people, they have the weekend, a lot of them do, and then they have to go back to work Monday morning. And their heart tells them that I don't want to go back to work. And I understand that there's more heart attacks on Monday morning than at the time. Their heart just attacks them because it says, I told you I didn't want to go to work. We need something that we love doing. So when Joe went to the doctor set him up and told him he had a brain cloud and only had 6 months to live. It wasn't true, but it changed Joe's life. Joe was caught up in the complications of life so much that he couldn't see the beauty of life. Life will blind you of the beauty of things that's out there that's really beautiful. Most people probably go through life in misery, on the verge of depression or suicide. People miserable on a job that you don't need to say good morning to them before 9 a.m. because they're 9 o'clock because they're so grumpy. So whenever they told Joe that he had a brain cloud, it changed his perspective on life, and then all of a sudden he wanted to live. If you were told by a physician that you only had so long to live, reckon what would you do? If you knew that you, uh, how many of you know that if you had your life to live over with, you could do better than what you did? But you don't. You don't have another. You got to do it this time. I'm too old, Brother Dale. If I know if I read 3 chapters a day, I could read the Bible through in a year. But oh my goodness, I'm 71. Well, how I'll be 72 when I get that read. How old will you be if you don't do it? You're not too old. It's amazing when people start, when they think you're going to die, they start seeing the daisies in their life and the beauty of life. And I read about a monologue from a prisoner that was going to die. He was going to be executed, and he said, "You know, it's funny, but life treated me bad. But you'll never hear me complaining about life again. I can sleep on a park bench. I can eat the crumbs or anything. I just want to live. I really want to live, but they're not going to let me, are they?" Why would we have to wait till we were told that we only had 6 months to live before we decided to start living? I remember when I was growing up, they had a group called the Platters, and they sung a song called "The Great Pretenders." A lot of people could get an Academy Award or an Oscar, acting like they're happy, but deep inside they're sad as they could be. If you knew you had 6 months to live, what would you do different? And so to start doing that you would do different. Would you be worried about the things you're worried about right now? I don't think so. Write down what you would want to do if you knew you only had 3 months to live. For all you know, you may die today, so whatever you wrote down, you need to be doing that. Some of us are trapped in a grave without the dirt in it yet, a dead-end job or whatever. Some people's heads start throbbing on Sunday afternoon because they know they have to go to work Monday morning. We need to focus on our life purpose. You know, after all, because it's what you give is what you get. Share some happiness. You'll be sure to get some back. We were designed to achieve. Most people at the doctors have told them that they've only have a short while to live. They started and made up their mind to make a lot of decisions and do things that they wouldn't have otherwise done. All you got to do is go home and pull out the desk drawer and look at your pay stubs and see what you've traded your life for. I've loved some jobs I've been in, but you need to love the job you're doing because that's what you're trading for. You know, I remember that song, 16 tons, and what did you get? Another day older and deep in debt. And he sold his soul to the company store, it says in the song. We have to take responsibility for our life. That's one thing that can help us. We don't want to talk about that, though. We want to talk about circumstances and how bad our life is and under the circumstances. And I told you on a previous video that if you're under the circumstances, just get out from under those circumstances. You know, I think about the cemetery. It's the richest place that there is. In the cemetery is talents that's never going to be used. It's going to be love that's never been expressed. It's going to be apologies never made. Talents, sermons never preached, songs never sung. And we need to do what we're going to do before we get down to the cemetery. We just make our own ceiling. It's not really a ceiling. It's a glass ceiling. We just make it for ourselves. We can go just as high as we want to. Living tiptoeing through life and trying not to ruffle anybody's feathers, trying not to make any mistakes. That's not the way to live your life. I heard a story about a man. He was on his deathbed, and he could see his loved ones standing at the end of the beds, encouraging him. And then he saw these ghosts, and they were the ghosts of the talents that tried to work with him. He was going to take to the cemetery, and they said, "We tried to work with you. We wanted you to have our talents, but you wouldn't. So now you're dying, and we've got to die too." Oh, I've got a poem I want to read to you that I'm not really a poem person, but I've always loved this one, and it's called "If" by Rudyard, or however you pronounce it, and Kipling. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two postures just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn out tools. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve you your turn long after they're gone, and so hold on when there's nothing in you except the will which says hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings and not lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you but none too much, if you can fill an unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and what is more, you'll be a man, my son. And now I want to read another poem. I said I ain't much of poems, and here's two in a row, but it's called Opportunities Missed. It said, there was a very cautious man who never laughed or played. He never risked, he never tried, he never sang or prayed. And when one day he passed away, his insurance was denied, for since he never really lived, they claimed he never died. We need to live before we get to the cemetery. I've made preparations for dying. I believe I've got that covered, and I'm not afraid. But what I am afraid of and been afraid of is getting down and have never lived at the point of death. I want to live my life. We say if I had my life to live over, I want to live mine going forward that very same way that I would say at the end, if I had my life to live over. So you can call me if you need me, or you got any comments, suggestions, something you want to hear. My number is 256-508-4410. You can call or text. And if you call and I don't answer right then, would you just leave me a message? May God bless you is my prayer, and I hope I'm helping you. Until next time.